Hey guys, welcome to another New World video. In today's video, we will be continuing the Back to Basics series, and in this one, we'll be looking at harvesting. For some reason, this one came by very popular demand. So let's not waste any more time and just get straight into it. I've found that whenever I talk to people in New World about harvesting, they immediately think that it is a skill that supports Arcana. And well, although it does play very heavily into Arcana, it is so much bigger than just that. Harvesting in New World is an important gathering skill that provides the needed materials for armoring, engineering, arcana, furniture making, and of course cooking. Harvesting is probably the highest per hour coin generating gathering profession in the game, and I know there will be people out there who will argue that statement with specific farm stories, but truly no other gathering profession has the earning potential of harvesting. Farming hyssop, crops, hemp, wire fiber, almost any activity you can dream of utilizing harvesting generates huge coin. When you first create your character and decide to start harvesting, which you should do right away because as you quest through the main story you will encounter all sorts of harvestable items, quite often, which will offer great experience, level your harvesting, and provide you with a nice way to generate coin as you progress, you will only have access to the flint sickle, which you can craft at your camp using 1 flint and 1 wood. The biggest issue you will encounter while questing with a sickle equipped is that you will quite often find yourself gathering herbs, and suddenly 5 hours later you realize you need to get back to questing. It is important that as you level up, you stop in at settlements to upgrade your sickle to one more appropriate for your level, because this will greatly increase almost every aspect of your harvesting experience, in terms of speed, luck, how fast you level, everything. These level thresholds are as follows. You'll upgrade to the iron sickle between level 3 and 19, which will increase your harvesting speed 200 to 300% and come with 1 perk. Then from level 16 to 39, you will want to upgrade to the steel sickle. This will increase your harvesting speed from 350 to 450% and come with 2 perks. When you reach level 32 to 59, you will want to switch to the star metal sickle. This will increase your harvest speed from 450 to 625% and come with 3 perks. And then finally your final sickle, the orichalcum sickle. You will want to start thinking about upgrading to this at level 51. This sickle will increase your gathering speed from 625 to 850% and come with 4 perks with a bonus perk at 600 gear score, which is a bit of a unique perk that will provide you with motes whenever you finish gathering any harvesting node, depending on the alignment that you have chosen for the sickle. There is, like with any gathering profession, an experience perk that you will want to seek out and have on your sickle. This is called Horticultural Discipline in this case. This perk increases your harvesting experience based on the gear score value of the sickle. This perk is always advised to have on your sickle, especially while leveling, but also even post 200, because it will continue to increase your experience gain while going into aptitude levels. Some other great perks to look for on your sickle are harvesting yield, which will increase your yield while harvesting up to 19%, depending on the tier and the gear score of your sickle. Harvesting efficiency, which increases your base harvesting speed. This one is critical while leveling harvesting, because increasing the speed you gather increases the speed that you level up. And of course, harvesting luck is very important, and you should, if possible, always have this on your sickle, which I will get more into shortly. Choosing the perks on your sickle is a great way to customize your tool to suit both what you're harvesting and where you're harvesting to meet your needs. So when buying or crafting your sickle, try to plan ahead and look at the potential perks and get the combination that suits your needs the best. Your sickle won't be the only place though that is an important source of perks to improve your efficiency and ability as a harvester. Much like combat or anything else in New World, even as a simple harvester, you will want to select almost all of your gear for harvesting with these perks in mind. For your armor, you have 2 options. 1, there is a dedicated harvester set, which is a great option. It will always have intellect as the main attribute and provide you with harvesting luck. These are the 2 most important things that you will be looking for when it comes to harvesting and your gear. However, that's all this gear will have on it, which if you're choosing to harvest while questing or harvesting at endgame for things like wire fiber and shattered mountain, it will quickly become problematic. Luckily, you do have a second option, which is to craft or have an armorer craft for you, custom harvesting armor. This is a much better, although slightly more expensive option. Using this option, you can make armor with the attribute of your choice, in this case intellect, and use a verbena leaf to manually add the harvesting luck perk. And you will then get armor with both intellect and harvesting luck, the same as the harvester set, but then also with other perks, combat perks, wards, things like that, which will work to allow you to harvest, but not leave you so overly weak that you will simply die in the more difficult locations. Now, the reason you will always want intellect on your harvester gear is because the intellect attribute gives the harvesting perks, and although you can harvest without these perks, you can't harvest as efficiently as if you had them. So let's have a look at them. At 50 points in intellect, you will get a 10% harvesting speed bonus. At 100 points in intellect, you will have a 5% chance for 1 Azoth after harvesting a node. At 150 points, you will receive a 10% weight reduction for harvested items. At 200 points in intellect, you will have a 10% harvesting speed increase. At 250 points, you will get a plus 10% yield when harvesting. And at 300 points in intellect, you will get a 10% reduction in Azoth travel cost. You will also want an amulet with harvesting luck on it. This can be crafted by a jewel crafter using the perk item Verbena Flower to add this perk. You will also, of course, want to aim for having intellect on your amulet. Even the bags you choose to wear while harvesting are important, because the more time you can spend outrunning your desired routes without downtime is the more items you can produce per hour, which of course is more coin per hour earned. So, while harvesting, what will you want in your bags? You will be wanting to get bags with Weaver's Burden and extra pockets. This will work to give you the ability to carry the most harvestables without becoming overburdened. Now, it gets a bit more complicated for harvesting than other gather professions, because as you know, cloth will not be your only option while gathering. So if you are going to focus on things like crops to produce coin, then you will want Gourmand's Burden, which will decrease your weight carrying things like corn. And later, closer to endgame, you will want to find bags with both of these perks at Gear Score 600 Legendary. You will get the Lasting Consumption perk if your bag is Legendary 600 Gear Score, which becomes very important for any gathering profession, because in this case there is harvesting food, so making it last longer is always great. So while on the topic of foods, the foods you will always want to be carrying while harvesting are cooked corn, which increases your harvesting luck by 1000 points for 20 minutes, cornbread, which increases your harvesting luck by 1400 points for 25 minutes, herb-crusted corn on the cob, which increases your harvesting luck by 1700 points for 30 minutes, and breakfast bread, increasing your harvesting luck by 1900 points for 35 minutes. And finally, spicy steak pie, which increases your harvesting luck by 2000 points for 40 minutes. There are also potions that don't impact harvesting directly, but increase the yield you produce doing any of the gathering abilities. These are of course the proficiency potions, which range between 5% and 15% increased yield depending on the strength of the potion. Trophies are also an important part of harvesting in New World, and will have a huge impact on your potential profit while harvesting. So getting these as soon as possible will be something you will want to do. Even if you only have access to the basic ones, do not overlook them. At every tier, they are important to have. And like with any of the trophies, there is a minor, basic, and major harvesting gathering trophy, increasing your harvesting luck from 5, 1000, and 1500 points respectively. With the introduction of the new musician skill into New World, along with it came some new buffs. Buffs that will be very important to you as a harvester. These buffs are Decidedly Dexterous, which increases your gathering speed by 75% for 30 to 90 minutes. Fortune's Favor, which increases your gathering yield from 3 to 10% for 30 to 90 minutes. And Luck's Labor, which increases your gathering luck from 2 to 5% for 30 to 90 minutes. So depending on what you're harvesting, having one of these buffs active at all times will be very important. I will say here though, this interacts weirdly with crops. Well, not weirdly, but not as one would expect. So when you are wanting to harvest crops, you will want the luck perk, not yield, because it will produce more crops than yield will. Normally gathering amount is unaffected by your luck, but in this case it is different, and I will explain later. They also reworked a lot of the bonuses that are awarded to players depending on what faction they belong to and what that faction controls. These bonuses can go by unnoticed, but it is important for you while you're doing any trade skill to pay attention to these, even if you're not a PvPer and don't take part in these activities. The outcomes of these activities and the bonuses they provide play a huge role in when you should be harvesting instead of doing other things, and how much potential coin you can make per hour while harvesting. The main things to watch for here are the Cutlass Keys Fort offering a 10% to global gathering luck, the Monarch's Bluff Fort offering a 5% increase to all experience gains, including harvesting experience, and of course Farmer's Harvest, offering a 20% yield while harvesting for 3 days. This is a settlement quality of life buff, so you will have to own a house in the settlement where this is active. Also, while leveling your territory standing, you will want to choose Gathering Speed. This offers a 5 to 37% gather speed bonus, although this bonus only applies to harvesting you do in the particular territory where you have leveled it, so be sure to stay on top of all of your territory standings. Choosing to be PvP flagged while harvesting can also be a very profitable option, although it comes with an obvious risk, in that other players can target you and kill you. But if you feel confident, you can defend yourself. This will give you an additional 30% harvesting luck while harvesting, which is a huge boost. So now that we know what to wear and why we're wearing it, why is harvesting luck so important? And how does it interact uniquely with the harvesting ability? Well, simply because it will unlock the needed thresholds to unlock rare cloths, flowers, and other important bonus items while harvesting. These thresholds are as follows. Plus 1000 points into luck, or 10%, will give you the ability to harvest tier 2 and 3 rare fiber materials. Plus 1100 points, or 11%, gives you the ability to harvest flowers from magical plants and have a chance to roll for a secondary loot basket on crops to access additional crops. So you see, getting back to the music buffs, why yield in this case won't be your best option. The luck bonus here gives you the potential to access a secondary loot basket on each crop you harvest, giving you an additional 1 to 2 crops from each gather. Moving forward, 1450 points or 14.5% will give you the ability to harvest tier 4 rare fiber materials. 1800 points of luck or 18% luck will give you the ability to harvest tier 5 rare fiber materials. Luck in New World can be a misleading title for such a mysterious stat. Think of it more like dice, in that you are given upon creation a set of dice that rolls 1 to 100,000. But things like shade cloth, for example, can only be gathered if you roll 101,000. You see, it's impossible to roll that and get shade cloth, unless of course you put on the gear that adds 1,000 to your total potential dice roll maximum. So having then 10% harvesting luck would add that needed potential 1,000, then giving you the ability to roll 101,000. Your chances of getting it are still of course very low, but now it's possible where it wasn't without it. So now that we are beginning to understand what is important while harvesting, the next question we will want to answer is how can we level harvesting? Well, it's simple. Harvest, of course. You will encounter thousands of harvestable nodes while you quest, herbs, elemental plants, crops. There's stuff almost every inch of the map, so you will level harvesting almost passively. However, if your goal is to max it ASAP and want to focus, there is always a best option. Unlike with some other skills, your harvesting goal is not the highest tier item ever. Your goal is the thing that produces the most experience per second due to the abundance and the gather time, which I will say again is why upgrading your tools is very important, especially when leveling harvesting. Faster gather speeds equal faster leveling. So if your plan is to max level harvesting as quickly as humanly possible, you will want to target herbs, which can be found in huge concentration growth areas around forts, and in zones like Evanscale Reach, First Light, and around new player areas. Another great option is of course blueberries and regular berries, which you will find around the Shattered Obelisk in huge supply. And of course later, post 150 harvesting, you could opt to farm wire fiber, because although it takes a long time to gather, it has a huge experience yield, so it is a great option for leveling. The issue with wire fiber though is that it is heavily contested, so likely it won't be as efficient as sticking with herbs and berries. The best way to level harvesting is to create a route, or plan a route using the resource map tools available online. I have linked one in the description. Using this can not only give you the ability to plan the best routes, you can also load it up while questing so that you're aware of what's in the area where you are already traveling, and passively level your harvesting as you quest. Also, unique to harvesting is the attribute bonuses. Having the 200 intellect bonus of 20% harvesting speed, in this case, will increase your experience per second. So having this attribute bonus will in fact actually greatly increase your leveling speed. It's like a passive 20% increased harvesting experience bonus, because as I said, the faster you harvest, the faster you get XP, because things like herbs grow in a bulk plot. Well guys, I think that about covers everything I had been asked about harvesting. If you have any other questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments. Okay guys, that's about it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.